You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
It's good to be back.
Horford gets Curry on the spit. Shot clock at 7. Buddy Hield bombs away a 3. Got it! Buddy buckets! Makes it a 7-point game! Through that collective groan from the Boston faithful. Steph Curry dancing afterwards. He made the play. Get into the paint. They're going to collapse on him. Oh, the Warriors wanted this one.
Damn it! What are you going to do? Got to give me a lot of credit for playing that. I could have played the generic cut from ESPN, which wasn't so homerish, but that was from Golden State Warrior crew last night at NBC California. Celtics lose. Tough one last night. Great game, though. I had a great time watching it. Great defensive game early on. We'll get into it here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Welcome to a Thursday edition. It's already November 7th. There's actually a lot of NBA news to talk about, which I usually don't lead the show off with, but I'm going to today. It's not just because the Celtics and Golden State played a great game last night. Very good. A couple of defensive brain farts by the Celtics at the end. Tip your hat to Golden State. See, I can play. I'm fair and impartial. I'm like most politicians, and just, when the team loses, you play. I'd rather have played that cut from the Golden State Warrior team than the generic one from ESPN, because the Golden State Warrior cut is more colorful. It's because it's how your local team, if they won on the road in a game like that, you'd feel the same way. So good morning and welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. How's everybody doing this morning? Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 a.m. across the video platform, which is outstanding, much like Angel and myself, at PShep326. Follow me, X and Twitter. Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029TheGame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, and call or text 727-858-6650. Okay, we're going to start with we got lots of college football to talk about, lots of NFL news to talk about. We got a big game tonight, a huge game. The Cincinnati Bengals on the road against Baltimore. I should have booked my friend Mike Petralli today. I don't know why, stupid Pete, but I forgot. But T. Higgins not playing again tonight, which most likely means a loss for Cincinnati since they can't win when he's not on the field. It seems that way. Anyway, we got college football tonight as well, a couple of games. NFL, lots of NFL sound from the upcoming games. Lots of college football stuff. We have actually tonight we have FAU. FAU's in action tonight at ECU. So a couple of U's going at it, not the U, but FAU at ECU and App State at Coastal Carolina tonight as well. Both games start at 8 o'clock, ESPN and ESPN2. Trevor Harris going to join me at 8:05 a.m. today from across the way over there, down Alligator Alley at WQAM in Miami. He will join me. We'll talk Canes and Georgia Tech. Interesting game. Revenge game for the Canes coming up after last year's debacle, which I will not get into right now. Rick Horrow, sports business guru, going to join us via phone coming up at 8:30. Lots to discuss with him. And at 9:05, John Meter-Perrell, play-by-play voice for the Boston College Eagles and also on the ACC network for college basketball and football. What's up with Villanova losing to Columbia last night? That is outrageous. Can't be losing to no Ivy League school. Come on, Villanova. Angel, what's up with your peeps? Your 76ers are in serious trouble here. J.J. Redick of the Lakers acts like a wuss bag last night. And I told you, the guy was hired to do one thing, coach LeBron James. That's it. And when things aren't going, what did I tell you when they hired him? I told you. Go back to the videotape. I told you that this wuss bag would become an ultimate wuss bag if things didn't go well for the Lakers. Well, he cannot. They're 4-4. They've underachieved. I know AD didn't play last night. Ja Morant was outstanding. They got clobbered by Memphis, and he could not handle the press. He couldn't handle it at the end. There's going to be more coming of this, of J.J. Redick stomping out of press conferences like let's just play that now. This is Ja Morant. Now, he was asked about, the part that you won't see here, he praised LeBron James. LeBron scored 39 points. I don't know how he did it. But then was asked to talk about the rest of the team. Couldn't handle it.
JJ, you're talking a lot about two or three guys, getting them to put in the effort. You've talked a lot about wanting to play hard and LeBron being the guy that played hard in tonight's game. How do you address that with the team? What's your philosophy for approaching that?
I just did.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? McFly? What a real great job, JJ Redick. Great job. Wait till you really start feeling the heat. You know, when your team is like 5, 6, 7, 8 games under 500, and your only solace is going to be, I can't wait to raise another banner for the stupid play-in tournament coming up soon. What a joke. What an absolute joke. I'll get into more of that in a second, Angel. But address the Celtics last night. Great game. Early on, I mean, the whole first half, basically, both teams were shooting under 30%. It felt like a Celtics 76ers game back in the day, 90-80. I figured it was going to be like that. It was a really good back and forth game. Celtics jumped out to an early 11-point lead at halftime. Golden State was up 11. Celtics stormed back. They take a 7-point lead. Golden State comes back. And in the end, they just made a couple more shots. The Celtics had a couple of bad lapses on defense. Tatum didn't score as much as I thought he would. It took him the second half to get going, but still finished with 32, 4, and 2. Steph Curry was outstanding as usual, 27, 7, and 9 for him. Derek White had 26 for the Celtics. The Q, my new Q, not Rich Quinones, but the new Q, Keita, was outstanding last night. 14 points and 8 rebounds in a starting role. Al had 10, 7, and 3. The Celtics got outscored in the paint last night. I think it was 52-36, and that was the difference in the game. It really was. But tip your hat to Golden State. They came into the Garden, hostile situation. Excuse me, hang on. I'm all choked up. Hostile situation, but it was a hell of a game. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a lot of fun. It's too bad those two teams couldn't play I'd like to see Porzingis back as well and Jaylen Brown in the lineup. Not making excuses because that's not what I do here for my team. They still should have won the game. They still probably should have won the game last night. A few defensive lapses, but it's the same team they beat by 52 points at the Garden last year. So Steph Curry had a big layup when it was 106-104. Buddy Hield was he was the difference maker, man. That guy was hitting everything last night. I already played you one of the cut. Here's how it sounded on ESPN.
Now Horford on the switch, 7 to shoot. Curry gets in the lane, kicks it out. Hield the three-pointer. It's good! Buddy Hield from downtown. Timeout Celtics. The Warriors go up 7.
Yeah, he was very good last night off the bench. 16.6 rebounds and an assist. And I tip my hat to the Golden State Warriors. Celtics fall at 7-2. Warriors improved to 7-1. So it is what it is. Celtics get back in action Friday night against Brooklyn, and Golden State also gets back in action Friday night as well, where they are at the Cleveland Cavaliers, also playing very, very good basketball. Which brings me to more NBA talk before we get to college football and the NFL in the Eastern Conference. And it's early on, I understand that. But there's not a lot of teams that start 1-6 that make the playoffs. You might say, wow, it's only 5 games, it's under 5. You go look at the numbers. It's difficult. And the Milwaukee Bucks, between Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's almost being run out of town, it seems, even though they lost a couple of heartbreakers to Cleveland back-to-back games, I believe, and Doc Rivers. And then you got Nick Nurse, and I feel badly for him because his hands are tied. And then the 76ers last night, who get embarrassed. They lose by 12 on the road with George in the lineup, who got booed. And all of a sudden, that's like a topic. You can't boo guys that come back into where you used to play. I mean, they spent a few minutes this morning, more than they should have on ESPN, talking about guys getting booed when they come. Everybody gets booed. It's so ridiculous. But the 76ers are in serious trouble here defensively. They are allowing a league worst 50% for teams from 2 and a league worst 39%, from 3. That is a major issue. You have Joel Embiid, who's supposed to come back on Tuesday, but who the hell knows? He's probably only going to play 50 games, maybe less this year because he doesn't want to play back-to-back and all this load management nonsense. And I don't know I don't know what the 76ers, I don't know how they're going to handle this. I really don't, because they're in serious trouble right now, as are the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers and the Utah Jazz are tied for the worst records in the NBA at 1-6. I mean, that is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. And, the Sixers have sort of an excuse because Embiid hasn't been on the floor. Milwaukee kind of has none with what's going on over there. And I said it last year when they got Damian Lillard. The Bucks, it looks flashy on paper. It looks flashy on paper. But, my old friend quote, I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones. And that team, along with Doc Rivers, that team is the discombobulated mess. The 76ers, I think, are in worse shape because you don't know what you're going to do with Joel Embiid. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. And then Maxey got hurt last night, who's got more pressure on him than anybody. And Maxey gets hurt late in the game. He has to come out. So, man, oh, man, the 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks, man, if you're fans of those two franchises, God bless you. Woo! And Angel, and at least the Knicks lost too. Knicks lost, the Lakers lost, and my Celtics lost. But the bigger picture in the NBA is what is going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, and to a degree, the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, I understand Joel Embiid's not playing, but defensively, they suck. They're the worst in the league. Absolute worst in the league. And I stayed up and watched a big chunk of that game last night because I had a couple shekels on the Clippers. Small money, and a small line too, but nevertheless, they won by 12. The game was close for 2.5 quarters, but you just were waiting for the 76ers to self-destruct. They can't play any defense on the whole. It's terrible. 50% from 2, 39% from 3. They've given up. Number one, worst. But you don't want to be worst in the NBA in both those categories. Angel, thoughts?
Sixers did not address what they needed from the bench. They didn't address it. Just figured to get Paul George, give Joel Embiid an extension. Tyrese Maxey was supposed to handle the rest of the load. They addressed nothing on the bench during the offseason. And that's why the Sixers are in a situation where they are. Even if Embiid was there defensively, this team still needed a good bench to come off of. But Nick Nurse did it when he was with Toronto. His bench, he always had a loaded bench. Not the Sixers. We're not worried about it. We wanted stars. We wanted star power to bring the people back to the seats, and forgetting that, once again, Philly fans are beyond smart when it comes, I don't care if it's baseball, football, basketball, you name it. But this is going to be the beginning part, unless they turn things around, unless Joel Embiid gets off this, woe is me, I'm only going to play every third game or whatever case may be, now with the 3-game suspension. It is just an abomination of what has been the Sixers for the last 5 to 6 seasons. Even when James Harden was here, it was the same way. There was no addressing the bench.
Well, at least I got to the conference finals. Right? Well, at least one. At least, they've been to playoffs. They can't get over the hump, and I understand that. Also, the Clippers last night, you can talk about Embiid not playing. They didn't have Kawhi Leonard. He hasn't played this year yet as well. Right hamstring soreness for Tyrese Maxey last night. Left the game. Had 12 points. Sixers had 4 guys in double figures, but they lose by double figures. They lose by double digits. They lose by 12. By the way, hamstring injury. And wait till you hear the beep, beep, beep of Mr. James Jones yesterday after finding out that, Dak Prescott's. Let me get the official. This is what I said. You got to be really careful. Dak Prescott is dealing with a partial avulsion of the right hamstring, which means part of the tendon has pulled away from the bone. So, I guess he didn't quit, did he? Yes, he didn't quit on his team, like these numbnuts were saying yesterday. We'll have his beep, beep, beep response coming up in just a little bit. But that's why I said, you start talking about players quitting. Unless it's the obvious Anthony Richardson tap out because he was winded after a scramble. Or you've seen people quit on the field at various times. I mean, Randy Moss, as great as he was, we would see it not so much with the Patriots. He wouldn't pull that crap. But certainly with the Minnesota Vikings and and elsewhere, if he wasn't involved in the play, you could tell right away that he kind of took the play off. He would kind of half-ass it down the field. But you can tell in any sport when players are quitting. Don't run hard, don't play hard. But Dak Prescott was not one of those guys. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous what those guys were saying on that show yesterday about him quitting. But anyway, getting back to the NBA, you got the Milwaukee Bucks, the Philadelphia 76ers tied for the worst record in the NBA with the Utah Jazz at 1-6. Celtics lose, not a heartbreaker. Celtics, it was. I was so enamored with the defense on both sides last night in the first half. It was awesome. I know people love offense. You want to see this, you want to see that, but it was kind of old school basketball, and it was refreshing actually to see for a big chunk of that game. And then things heated up. I was glad that Jason Tatum didn't try to force anything early on in the game. And then he got going. He scored 17 points in the third quarter. Finished with 32. But that's okay. It is what it is. The Celtics are not going to lose a lot of games this year. I hated to lose that one last night to that team, especially at home. But I tip my hat to them. They deserved it. They made more plays down the stretch. They played better defense, a little bit better defense down the stretch than the Celtics did. Curry was left open a couple times in crunch time and buried the shots. But we digress. I think what's going to be talked about a lot today on ESPN, besides the obvious NFL and college football, is the NBA and what is going on here. The Knicks also got humiliated. I don't care. It's a 5-point loss, but they lost 121-116 last night as well. Memphis, as I said, clobbered the Lakers 131-114. Here's another one. Jay Morant hits a tough and one here, and I'll tell you why this is important.
Minute and a half remaining. Morant against Gabe Vincent. Spins, turns, hooks, gets in his foul. So gets caught hanging out, and then now Morant down low. You saw that little slide underneath by Vincent, causing the.
There was a little incident as well here with Jay Morant and LeBron James.
Minute and a half remaining. Morant against Gabe Vincent. Spins, turns, hooks, gets in his foul. It's caught hanging out, and then now Morant down low. You saw that little slide underneath by Vincent, causing the. Now Morant has James. 7 to shoot. LeBron looking to back down, get physical, leans over Morant, banks in. Like I said, he's playing with a different set of rules.
Well, Jay Morant, after the game on facing LeBron and the Lakers.
What was that interaction between you and LeBron? Like, what was your perspective on that first half?
I think I did it too small to somebody who was too small. I mean, he came back and did it respectfully. He's 6'8", whatever. I would expect it. I thought it was a charge. He did it, and I don't back down from nobody. Don't care who you are. My job was to just come back. I got my bucket, and I set the tone. My teammates fed off of it, and you see what happened. So, top dog in our league. Take out the top dog. Who else you fear?
You get up, man.
I don't fear nobody anyway, but yeah, I ain't had to. I ain't had to get up. I ain't been down.
John, what was it like obviously when you went out of the game, it was frustrating, but to see the team take that lead even higher.
I wasn't surprised. When I went out, I just wanted to be on the floor. I knew we was winning the game.
What is it about this Laker team? It always.
I don't like them. Knocked me out the playoffs. And then last year we had a game and they came in here and popped it on our home floor when I was in street clothes. So I wasn't the night.
Has tonight kind of been building
Nah. He was just next on the schedule. Lakers actually. I won't even say him. Lakers. And then, they beat us last time. I didn't get to play, like I said, last year. They came on our home floor, beat us on our home floor, was laughing, playing, looking at me, talking. My message was I was in street clothes. This is my first opportunity to get back on the floor playing against them. I bring first, whoever. Then the situation happened, which pretty much got me going.
Good, pure, honest hatred. I love it. I love it. I hate the Lakers too. Anyway, but yeah, good for him. He left. He left in the third quarter last night, also with a little hamstring injury as well. don't know what his status is going to be. He scored 20. Jackson Jr. had 20. Wells had 20. LeBron had 39. Everybody else, Austin Reeves didn't play well. He had 19. Russell had 12. But Memphis wins at home, 131 to 114. Go ahead, Angel. What?
I know. I'm in the same boat as Ja. I can't stand the freaking Lakers. Same nonsense.
But especially now with J.J. Redick, such a hateable coach, always thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
Always has. Even on television, he always had that Duke arrogance of being the smartest guy in the room. And wait till the Lakers start to fade. Not a when. It's not if. It's going to be a when. And they are going to be mediocre at best. Davis didn't play last night. He's got AD had a left heel soreness. Heel. I have left heel soreness. I did the show. I'm not running up and down the floor. I think I can run up and down the floor for a good, 30 seconds. Make myself available. I wouldn't get a DNP. Redick wouldn't give me a DNP. Even Bronny James got some minutes last night. He had 2 points.
Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. I thought it was supposed to, supposedly after that whole debut, that he was supposed to go down to the G League. I guess they changed those thoughts real quick, too.
Well, I think he will. I think he's going to. It's for now. He's up here, but it'll be down. I mean, it's the Lakers. I can't get overly aggravated, except about J.J. Redick about the Lakers because they're just a mediocre team.
Or maybe Jay-Z's upset when people, he comes out in the court. People are like, Dan. Oh, it's just J.J. Sorry, wrong person.
Yeah, no question about it. So we have that. The other while we're doing it, might as well do the other scores around the NBA last night as well. Dallas over Chicago, 119-99. Charlotte over Detroit, 118-107. Indiana beat Orlando, 118-111. The Knicks lose to Atlanta, 121-116. That's good. As I said, the Golden State Warriors came into Boston, beat the Celtics 118-112. Very good basketball game, though. It was a lot of fun to watch. Houston clobbers San Antonio again, 127-100. Again, Pop is out for a medical condition. Cleveland over New Orleans, 131-122. Cavs are red hot. Denver over New Orleans, 131-122. Cleveland over New Orleans, 131-122. Denver over OKC, 124-122. Here's the game winner from guess who?
5 seconds to go. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander on the run. The shot was blocked by Peyton Watson, and the Nuggets have won it. Wow. From GOAT to hero.
Peyton Watson blocks Shea Gilgeous-Alexander at the end of the game. How about that for an ending? And no foul called. How about that? Great stuff.
It's even better.
Clippers, as I said, beat Philadelphia 110-98. Sacramento over Toronto 122-107. Phoenix cut by Miami. Yes, 115-112.
Now Duncan gets by Allen. Shot clock at 4. Robinson against Durant. Durant with a block. What a play by Kevin Durant.
Well, Durant's shown his ability to still defend. He got beat by Duncan, but he never gave up on the play.
Yeah, Phoenix wins 115-112. Thanks right there to FanDuel Sports Network. So there is your NBA rundown. In the NHL last night, Detroit over Chicago 4-1. Washington over Nashville 3-2.
Comes off the inboards. Pass from Nugent Hopkins picked off. And Holtz will snap it in. 1 minute to go in the third period. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. Out high, Hannafin open and he scores! Noah Hannafin buries it, and the Golden Knights grab the lead on Hannafin's second goal of the period with 48 seconds left.
Just get the puck deep, Holtz rims it around. Watch Barbashev go in, the little stick lift on Ekholm, spins his body, and then Hannafin jumps into the play unnoticed. Look at the numbers of the Oilers. 4 Oilers, 2 Golden Knights, and it's Barbashev with a great play in the fourth.
Yeah, that's from the Vegas-Edmonton game. Vegas wanted to win 4-2. Sorry about that. But in the Washington-Nashville game, Mr. Ovechkin does it.
This way for Faravari. He'll boom one in from center. Saros slowed it down. It makes its way to Ovechkin. On the curl and drag, it's still in Strome feeding Ovechkin. He scores! The grade A back on the board.
Again, Strome, the conductor, hard work down low. There's a play by Strome, and watch him feather and find Ovi, and no chance for Saros. In and out in a hurry. Good job by Pro going to the net. That takes two guys with them, and there it is into the back of the twine there. An opportunity, and Ovi makes sure he deposits it here in the third period.
Referee Kelly Sutherland is over at the Nashville bench.
Yeah, Burnett's looking at a lot of things there, including the offside possibilities, the goalie interference.
Yeah, it was ruled a goal. Washington wins 3-2. Ovechkin with the game winner there in the third period, thanks to MNMT Network for the call there. All right, it's not going to be a show. We have a lot of guests today coming up, starting at 8 o'clock, all the way 8 o'clock, 8:30, and 9 o'clock. Got three guests coming up: Trevor Harris, Rick Horrell, John Meter-Perel. So I do want to cram as much in as I can. Before you go to break, let's the video right underneath the show, Angel. Funny stuff. Michael Bennett, who was a great player for the short time that he was with the Patriots a couple of times, and also with Seattle, you might remember. But there's a funny exchange he has with Julian Edelman on his podcast yesterday on Games with Names podcast, I believe. This is funny, talking about how Bill Belichick would constantly call out Tom Brady.
In Seattle, they never really called out like Russell on certain things, but Bill would call Tom out on everything. How's a guy who's been the MVP 4 times, that's won the championship 6 times, throw this fucking route right here? It's like you have never seen it before, Tom, and you just back there like, dang, he going off on Tom Brady right now.
Let you know everyone's on limits.
Yeah. And I remember the first meeting in preseason, Bill came in there, and it was like one of those things where it was like, I think he was just setting the stage to tell everybody, if you question me, shut the fuck up. But basically, because he was like, here's my credentials. Basically, it was 20 years of winning this, like 17 deep. You remember it was like all the stats of all the things, and you were like, it's like, so I know what I'm talking about. And I was like, yeah, he does. He like that's it right there. You're right. He know. Hey, if we listen to him. In Seattle, they never really called out like Russell on certain things, but Bill would call Tom out on everything. How's a guy who's been the MVP?
So there you have it. So that's good stuff there from Michael Bennett. But that's how Bill was, and that's why it didn't matter. It did not matter.
Again, these are things that we didn't get. There's just, like, I think if there was more stuff like this that was put out there when the Patriots were making that run, there might not have been so much of this, game hatred where you just couldn't stand freaking Belichick. But, obviously everybody knows he was serious, but I like now that everybody's kind of like sharing their stories and talking about Bill and how he was set up and how he was structured. Because again, it makes a world different. You guys knew in Boston, we had no idea. We hated it. Was like, oh great, here you go, Super Bowl champs again. Here's 5. Oh, there's 6. So
yeah, well, they're in, they lost, but no, you got us one. No, and I'm telling, but he was not afraid. No, you heard what's interesting there about Michael Bennett. What did he say in the beginning? He's like, they wouldn't call out Russell Wilson in Seattle because if they did that, he'd go cry and pout in the corner. Aaron Rodgers would do the same thing. Bill didn't give a shit. Never has. The best players always played. That's the way it was. Now you may not always agree with him on certain things and certain coaching decisions, but everybody was treated equally. And most of the players that have ever played for him will tell you that. Everybody was treated. There weren't a lot of favorites. Now, I know for a fact, he had his favorite players outside of the Patriots that he loved. I can tell you this. I mean, if he could have adopted Jason Taylor from Miami Dolphins and Ed Reed, he would have. I mean, and also Chad Ochocinco, Chad John. He would have adopted those 3 people if he could have. I mean, anytime they played Miami or anytime they played Reed, Baltimore, it was always the same thing. And Ochocinco as well. You've seen the clip before with Chad's like, why are you double teaming me, coach? It's like, because I see what you can do, what you've done. But so, there's a reason why he's, arguably the greatest coach of all time. And you can say what you want. I love when people say, well, what would he have done without Tom Brady? Okay, what would Walsh have done without Montana and Steve Young?
Yeah.
What would What would the Steelers have done without Terry Bradshaw? Chuck Noll. What would he have done without Terry Bradshaw? What would Tom Landry have done without Roger Staubach and Danny White, for the most part? I mean, I hate when people say that, like it's that easy. The guy rebuilt the team 3 different times with a bunch of different players. Yeah, Tom was the one consistent at quarterback, but you got to give him credit. People just don't understand. They just have a memory lapse of what he did to rebuild that team via trades, via free agent signings, whatever it was, 3 different times, and that's why they won all those Super Bowls and why they were there all the time, why they were always a Super Bowl contender, and he always let players go a year early rather than a year late. Didn't sit well with some of the fans initially, but in the end, I go back sometimes, Angel, it's hysterical to see some of the Facebook posts that come up on my page from, 2011, 12, 13, 14 that come up during football season. Bill does this, Tom sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then they go on to win the Super Bowl. It's amazing to see as the daily feeds come in over the years. Hysterical. I should put it in a time capsule. It really is unbelievable. The same people bitching about the same stuff until all of a sudden, it's just too much. Well, that's why they're fans, right? All right, quick break. When we come back, lots more video to play. We got an NFL game coming up tonight, a big one. Cincinnati at Baltimore. We'll have preview of that and a whole lot more. It is the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Thursday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him in the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
For the best in college football and NFL talk, check out The Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Short week, Jamar. The preparation obviously gets crunched down by a lot. Does it feel to you like cramming for a test back in school? Like what's a short week?
I didn't study in school.
All right.
Very honest answer. That's Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals answering a very candid question. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. It is Thursday, November 7th. Thanks for following me on Twitter, X at PShep326, and Facebook, SR1029 The Game. Also on Facebook at Tampa Joe's. Hi, everybody out there. Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and you can call or text the show as always at 727-858-6650. Getting into the NFL. And again, we say good morning once again to Angel Martinez, who, like I am, is a... Well, he's not as perplexed or surprised, but I mean, if you had told me the Milwaukee Bucks and Philadelphia 76ers were going to be tied for last place with Utah in the NBA at 1-6 to start the season, I'd say, okay, you're crazy. But
yeah, I agree.
But nevertheless, it has happened. All right, here's more from Jamar Chase.
It's a lot. But you just gotta stay focused, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta really lock in right now. We get a little break time before we start, Friday, you know what I'm saying? Friday's practice. So we just gotta stay locked in when we on the field and just pay attention. But when we get the break time, then we can do whatever. Here's
Jamar Chase calling to quarterback Joey Burrow.
That's a standard he has, you know what I'm saying? Standard he set for the team. His accomplishments and the greatness level that he wants to achieve, he hasn't achieved yet. That's why he upholds himself to those standards.
Do you think that that's needed, especially given where
Yeah. To say how the season going, I would say yeah. But that's always been him. He's always been that type of guy to hold himself to a standard. He's just doing it more vocally now.
All right, the Bengals are 4-5, trying to get out of a hole. They've won 3 of 4 since the loss to Baltimore. The Ravens have won 5 of their last 6 after an 0-2 start. Lamar Jackson obviously is Lamar Jackson. King Henry is awesome as well. But T. Higgins is not going to be in the lineup tonight, and they are a different team when he is not in the lineup, so we shall see. The Ravens are favored by 6 tonight. The total is 53. Big question whether Bengals can sustain the success on the ground against the Ravens defense. Number 1, by the way, in the NFL against the run, and especially finding out if Orlando Brown, the starting left tackle, he's been out with a knee injury. Baltimore, by the way, 21-3 in prime-time home games under Coach John Harbaugh. That includes an 8-0 mark on Thursday Night Football. 8-0 on Thursday Night Football. So I like the Ravens tonight. I like the Ravens to cover, and I like the game to go over. So Ravens and the over. I'm telling you right now, that is my play.
I wish I knew freaking gamble talk, because every time you say something to me, it sounds like a different language. I have no idea what you're talking about, but it's okay.
Well, -6 that means the Bengals have to win by 7 for you to win the bet, and the total in the game is just total points 53. So if it's like 30-27, it goes over. You bet the over, you win. It's just total points. Very simple. You think it's going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game. Most NFL games, not a lot of them are in the 50s, despite all the high offenses. But this is probably one of the bigger totals on the board this week, and that usually means take the over. Doesn't always play out that way, but that's all it is. And just so if I say the over-under is 53, that's just the total points in the game. That's all.
All right. See, I'm learning little by little, but yet I'm pretty sure Hard Rock will love my money. Like, here comes the sucker. I mean, the customer.
Well, there's boosts all over the place now too. Lots of boosts out there, which you get better odds that way. But we'll explore that conversation another time. All right, the Dallas Cowboys, quarterback Dak Prescott dealing with a partial avulsion of the right hamstring. So that means, in layman's terms, part of the tendon is pulled away from the bone. Ouch, signifying that he has not quit, despite what some talk show hosts are saying. And yesterday, Angel, if we could scroll down, and it's a little ways down under the facility. This once again, now I played you yesterday. The James Jones comments yesterday, Bill. He was adamant that Dak Prescott quit. And now he's sort of backtracking, but not really, on the show yesterday on QB Boom on the facility, which is a local show in the Dallas area, I believe. So here's Mr. Jones once again, not Jerry Jones, but James Jones.
Listening to that take, this is just me being honest. Listening to that take, quit might not have been the right word. As I'm listening to it, quit might not have been the right word.
He's a man. That's maturity. That's maturity. That's maturity.
I'm never backpedaling because I ain't scared or worried about nobody and nothing.
Yeah.
All right? So quit might have been the wrong word. But I do not believe that he fought to play. I do not believe that he's fighting to be out there. I don't. Because when you just talk about a hamstring injury and immediately we hear IR, because that's what made me react like that, because I immediately heard, I see you on the sideline and I immediately hear IR and hamstring. Yeah. And I played the game of football. I'm not like a lot of these people that's on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, talking and they never play. I played the game of football. I had different type of hamstring issues, right? Grade 1s, grade 2s, whatever it may be, I had those. So all I'm saying is I do not feel like Dak Prescott fought as hard as he could to play and not go on IR. And we all been injured. The trainer, the coach, whoever comes into the locker room, he say, Acho, it's your knee, dog. Your season over. Hold on.
Right.
Hold on, what you mean just season over? Like, can we see how I feel after 2 weeks, 1 week? So that's why I reacted like that, because it's like, you just done with 4 weeks, and it's a hamstring injury. So, but as I watch it, quit might be the wrong word, but I do not know how hard he tried to play to be out there for his brothers. I am going to try as hard as I possibly can to be out there for my brothers through any injury. And I played through a bunch of injuries. But in this situation, I don't know how hard he fought to get back out there. But watching it, I don't know Dak personally. Quit might have been the wrong word.
That's fair.
But I don't know how hard he fought to get out.
What a half-assed apology that is. Now, I'm not sure. That show, I think, went on about 22 hours yesterday afternoon. I think they do that show. The story from Todd Archer, a great reporter for ESPN, who does a great job covering the Cowboys. This story came out and updated at 8:05 p.m. last night with Dak Prescott dealing with a partial avulsion of his right hamstring, part of the tendon pulled away from the bone. So, Jones, I hope you didn't see. First of all, it was a half-assed apology anyway, and still irresponsible. And you still, just by you saying "quit" is the wrong word, doesn't let you off the hook in my book. And no, I didn't play in the NFL, but I can still talk about it. And if he knew during the show that Prescott was dealing with an avulsion, with the tendon pulling away from the bone, and still made those comments, then double shame on you for making those, for even considering it. This is why I said he doesn't know. Do you think any NFL player, do you think Jones could come back in with a tendon pulling away from the bone? Yeah. I mean, the guy's going on IR, and more than likely he's not going to be eligible until coming back December 9th against the visiting Cincinnati Bengals. And such a move be made this week, and I believe it will be made today or tomorrow. I believe that. I mean, that's a pretty serious. That's not your typical hamstring injury, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones. The tendon pulling away from the bone. Ouch.
Yeah,
that's never had that happen to me, but Jesus.
Yeah, it's something. It's happened to me before. It's not the freaking easiest thing in the world. You can, depending on how much of a tear you have, you can naturally let it gravitate towards the bone again. Some people require surgery. Again, it all depends on how much separation there is. But to turn around and say that he didn't play, first you say that he quit, then you say, well, he didn't quit. Maybe he didn't play his hardest. Well, it's not like Dak doesn't have Superman, X-ray vision where he can take a look at his bone and figure out, oh, look, that's the reason why this is going on. So if no one knows, we're all different. But if he knew there was something there, and instead of making the situation worse, and he decided, I'm going to pull myself out, then now we know the reason why. So you got to be careful on some of the stuff you went into reporting on. And I don't think, just like you mentioned yesterday, I don't believe he decided to quit. It's just he had no idea what was going on, and now we all know that obviously it's a partial tear.
So, Jones, you're going to come back on today and say, oh, I didn't know that it was a tendon away from the bone. I guess he didn't quit. I mean, it sounds like a total jackass, absolute jackass. For the way he talked about that without being there, and especially about a guy like Dak Prescott. Like I said, you can say a lot of things about a lot of Dallas Cowboys and the organization and everything else. I would never, I didn't assume for 1 second that Dak Prescott, quote unquote, from John quit, unquote. Never even crossed my mind. It was just the opposite. I said, geez, for him not to be back in there right now, got to be pretty serious, more than we know. But now we know. And knowing, Angel, is half the battle.
It sure is. But I wonder if I know it's gotten back to Dak, but I would like to hear, and knowing Dak, the way Dak is, he probably not going to say anything negative towards the guys, but I would like for him to at least say something like, listen, know the facts before you want to say something.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's going to go down that road. He's usually pretty classy about He's pretty classy about it. But he might speak in generic terms. We could scroll down to Jim Harbaugh. Angel, it's just about 1, 2, 3 down. Jim Harbaugh was talking about, games in the middle of the season, how important they are as opposed to the beginning and the end. We can play this video. It's kind of funny.
That were and are coming up.
Yeah, the middle of the season is always critical that way. Like Bill Belichick talks about the middle eight in a football game. I mean, there's a middle eight in a season too. You could break it down, that way. 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, those are important games. The only joke I know is why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are big games.
I've heard a dirty joke with that same sort of candor right there, but yeah, so Jim cleaned it up a little bit. But anyway, you get the picture. Yeah, so 6, 7, 8, 9.
But
an oldie but a goodie.
It is, but it's funny here, like, because usually he's like a little more intense, I want to say, and this one was almost like, huh?
But he's a little goofy at times. He's a little goofy.
No, he is, and that's what made it funny about it. Because do you think about it, if you're sitting there, right? And usually you'll hear the serious side. It's the same way. I'll reference back to Belichick. Who knew that he had kind of like a comedic side to it? Because again, we didn't get to see it, but that was actually pretty good by Harbaugh.
Here's more from Jim Harbaugh,
and that's what it's about. I mean, it's all pieces to the puzzle. Players playing, coaches coaching. The coordination of it, the play caller's ability to call the right play at the right time, the coordinator's ability to construct and architect the system, build it for the players to be successful, and for the players to have buy-in, and I saw that early on from really each position group, that they were getting buy-in from the coaches and what the coaches were telling, because you could hear and watch what the Mike Elson was doing in his room, or Steve Klinkscale, or Chris, or Dylan, or Bo, what they're teaching him, and then to directly see that show up in the drills and in the practices from the very beginning, back in June, and OTAs and mini camps. So there's been great buy-in there.
Wonderful. Yeah, by the way, the Chargers will host the Tennessee Titans this week. That should be one of the more boring games of the year. Again, that'll be one of those first 1-17 wins, what's like the Patriots in Tennessee last week. Meanwhile, I want to get a couple more videos in, Angel, if I may. Indianapolis is hosting the Buffalo Bills this weekend. You're going to have to refresh because it's pretty new on my Twitter page. I just put it out there. But I know we played this guy before, but the cult singer Seth has been named Indy's Fan of the Year and been gifted Super Bowl tickets from the team. And here's the video of that. He comes up with those corny jingles.
And we're just gonna do some like basic stuff, headshots and stuff. You're just gonna stand with your toes like on this line, just right here, and we'll do a variety of stuff. Perfect, love it. Oh, that's even better. I love it.
Brother and I are huge fans of the Colts, though, and longtime fans.
This is our Colts. This is our team. You are actually the fan of the year.
Congratulations!
This is for you. That is amazing.
My God.
Yeah. Guys, can I get a picture with you?
Yes.
That's perfect. Right there. Oh, that's so good.
That was
awesome. Oh, appreciate you.
Feel blessed. Holy cow, Mom and Dad would be proud of you.
They would be. They are. They're very.
That's good. I like
Man,
you
it's
there.
been pretty wild and fun ride, and all this cool stuff I'm taking in already, and man, this is a blessing. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations, Seth.
See? That's goofy. There, yeah, that's a nice gesture by the Colts, though, right there. They're going to get killed by the Bills this week, in my opinion. But anyway, he gets 2 Super Bowl tickets for Fan of the Year. Pretty cool stuff.
It is.
Good job by Indy right there for doing that. Let's see if we can play. Let's see what else we got. If we could scroll down, Drake May was asked, talked about him and his relationship with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, the rookie quarterbacks coming in. He talked about this yesterday. Mike Reese had it from ESPN. Just a few down. Angel?
Yep. I'm getting there.
Okay.
No, next one's stands too. So.
Dietrich stands too, right? Yeah. Frank, just this week, Caleb Williams' name will come up a lot.
much time did you spend when you look back on it with Caleb and Jaden, just the whole process of the spring, and how do you look back on that? Was it a whirlwind? What was it like for you?
Yeah, I think, both as rookies, coming out as quarterbacks, you spend a lot of time with those guys. You see them, someone visits, some at the combine. Really with Caleb, I've seen him since high school. Going to the same camps, was at the Elite 11 with each other, was at some college visits together. So kind of the whole thing, kind of going through the process again. We kept up with each other in college. We were friends and enjoyed watching him do his thing. And now I get a chance to compete. So anytime you're going to rookie quarterback in the same class, or any quarterback in your class in general, it's a little extra. So looking forward to going out there and getting a chance to play the Bears.
All right, I know the sound was a little low there, but there is Drake May. And before we go to break, Ange, I want to play one more video. I thought this was interesting. It's right a couple below that. Adam Schefter, Mike Tannenbaum was on with Adam Schefter's podcast and talked about working with Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell, Bill Parcells, Steve Kerr. Interesting little exchange here between Schefter and Mike Tannenbaum.
What did you see in Dan Campbell then as the EVP of operations for the Dolphins that you're seeing in Detroit right now, Mike?
So it was 2015, and Steve Ross and I made the decision that we should make a change with Joe Philbin after 4 games coming back from London. And I said, Steve, you really need to talk to Dan Campbell. I think he has attributes you can't see and can be really special as a coach. He called him, and to Steve's credit, he's like, get it done. This is our guy. And Dan was our head coach for 12 games, became a finalist for the job, and obviously has gone on to great things. Different version of what we just talked about. But, Dan was a guy that had played, and he knew, he has the ability to walk the line of, we're going to be physical at practice, but I'm going to take care of you. We're going to be tough, but we're going to be smart. And I think it's a, first cousin of Dan Quinn and really someone like Mike Tomlin, who, when you talk to people that go to Latrobe every Sunday, say hey, it's physical, but you know what? Then Pittsburgh shows up and they don't miss tackles. And I think that's what Dan has done is he has created, the standard in Detroit of toughness and physicality, but in a way that's smart and productive.
No question about it. No question about it. Good stuff there. All right, quick break. First guest coming up, getting into some college football with my man, Trevor Harris from WQAM, executive producer for a whole bunch of teams at WQAM, including the Miami Hurricanes, and they get ready to take on Georgia Tech on the road this Saturday at noon on ESPN. We'll ask him what the buzz has been like. The Dolphins don't play until Monday night, so no Mike McDaniel cuts, maybe until tomorrow. I hate when we don't have them, but anyway, we'll have more stuff. A lot of college football coming up at 8 o'clock. Trevor Harris, Rick Horrow, sports business guru at 8:30, and John Meter-Perrell at 9 a.m. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Thursday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World and Saugus, be there.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
honestly, I was thinking, like you said, I kind of thought I had a lot. I did have a lot going on, but I was just like, I wasn't gonna play at first, but then I was like, I'm with my brothers now here, just finish this out. And yeah, that's what I did. Played with a big old club on my hand and made it to the third round playoffs. So yeah, we got 6 rounds in Texas, so it was pretty good.
Welcome back to Pete Sheppard Show. That was Damian Martinez, one of the best players in the country, the star running back for the University of Miami. Speaking of stars, star producer for the Hurricanes, mostly, is the one and only Trevor Harris, who's back here for his weekly visit here all the way across Alligator Alley. Good morning, Trevor. How goes it with you?
I am good. I literally just almost overslept, and because I worked the late night Miami Heat Phoenix Suns game last night. How about that?
And the Heat lost. Yes,
I was so happy. I was like, yes.
So were you watching the Celtics on ESPN as well before?
I had both games. I had that game on the top screen.
Yeah,
and the Heat game was on the bottom screen, and people got really mad. Like, can you flip them? I was like, no, I have the Celtics on. Sorry.
Yeah, despite the loss, but it was a hell of a game. I love the defense early on. Both teams are shooting under 30%, but good contested shot. I thought it was fantastic. Steals. Golden State just made a couple of better plays down the stretch a little bit, so I tip my hat to them. But anyway, so you're back this week. You were in Lubbock, Texas last week?
No, last week I was doing the Heat Mexico City game versus the Wizards at 9:30.
How's that?
I don't like to say this. That was the biggest waste of time basketball game I ever produced, anyways. So that's why. But I am back producing the Canes game this week. Thank God. Anyways,
noontime start at Georgia Tech. We don't have to go into the details of what happened last year. It was the really one horrific moment under the Mario Cristobal regime, and since then, this year there's none of that, and there will be
right now.
None of that. Sure, no question about it. So, what's your day? Your day starts going to be 8:00 in the morning on
Well,
Saturday?
I'm doing the Heat game the night before, anyways. I got to do the Heat Nuggets game at 9 p.m. So they told me, like, I looked at me like, you really want me to do doubles? Like, yeah. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get there by 10 then. So you deal with me at 10 a.m. then. So.
Nice. So, big game at Georgia Tech this week. The Hurricanes obviously 9-0, 5-0 in the conference. The Yellow Jackets 5-4, 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
First thoughts on the college football playoff rankings? About exactly what I thought it would be early on, at least the top 4. I mean, Miami's right where they want to be. They're still not getting SMU is getting more respect right now than the Miami Hurricanes are. Although I will give Booger McFarland credit. He said, look, he goes, we have Cam, speaking on behalf of him, he's like, we have, their address is, we have Cam Ward and you don't. So I am convinced that the Hurricanes can put up points with anybody in the country. Anybody. That's not the problem. Georgia, Alabama, LSU, I don't care who it is. Oregon, they can score on anybody. The problem, the question will be, and we won't know this for a while, is can their banged up secondary, which it is now a little bit. I mean, they have a good front seven. There are times where they play defense. You go, wow, why can't we do this all the time? But they do give up a lot of chunk plays. So, but if they have to win every game 50-45, then so be it.
I when I looked at the rankings, I was actually doing Hurricane Hotline doing this a little inside. Me and Josie were doing it like going like we were talking like during the reveal, like it was like a play-by-play almost. I was like,
yeah,
I was looking at it. I kind of wanted Miami like in the one of the games where you play Indiana, because it would have been a nice like a tune-up game and stuff would be kind of cool. But if they play Texas second round in the playoffs in a bowl game, I am so down for that anyways, because that will be ratings bonanza, media, and more media attention towards the Canes and also Texas. That'll be the first. I think that'll be the first time those two teams have played in a bowl game since that famous Cotton Bowl. Anyways, I could be wrong, possibly.
Yeah, there's so many scenarios that can happen, and I love looking at it. I want Ohio State.
That will be great.
Indiana Ohio State coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
Michigan visits
town match, we call that.
Yeah. Oh, really?
That's I'm just making the guy label that game somehow. Anyways, it's a loser leaves town match, is what Bill Simmons would say at least. So.
It's looking more and a little more like Miami and SMU will play for the ACC championship, but we'll get to that in a sec. But the rankings overall, I mean, look, they're gonna change. Maybe SMU has a couple of top 25 wins. By the way, they won at home against a ranked first time like since before, between 1920s, late 1920s. That's how long it's been for them. But they're getting a whole lot of pub right now. I still think the Miami Hurricanes are not getting a lot of respect. That people have just got to realize that your defense cannot stop them. There isn't a defense in this country that can stop them. I'm convinced of it. I've seen them all. I've seen Georgia, Alabama. I've seen Oregon. All of them. It's just a question of, defensively on the Hurricane side, can they make enough stops to win the national championship? And
I think it'll be interesting when that happens. I like shootouts. I mean more highlights to cut anyways, which was always great. I like more touchdowns and I can do better montages. So if it's a shootout but for the Miami Hurricanes, that's very on brand anyways, and that means more Michael Irvin going crazy when Xavier Sheppard getting the ball anyways, getting more
You
reception.
think that obviously that doesn't bother Mario Cristobal, him being on the sideline everywhere.
No, what I heard from Andrea Alderson, she says like we've done like the alumni who said like we'll be here, they have not, and I think Irvin's is like I'm gonna do it anyway. So I'm proud that someone is at least come to almost every game, which is awesome to see. Like I'm glad it's happening. It's like at least someone's like showing up and making it cool anyways. I like at least it's someone's from the 80s Canes. I would like to see like someone from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I just can't be mad anyway. So.
Well, Ed Reed's been there too. A couple of other guys. Warren Sapp have been there. Not my favorite player in the world, but
me neither.
but Michael Irvin is always there.
Yeah.
Does he live there? Does he live at Hard Rock? I mean,
I don't know. I know he's in LA all the time, but it's like I guess he's got the private jet money. I like to say anyway. So that's my guess. So always bringing enough YouTube subscribers for his channel anyway. So.
No question about it. Well, the other big story in this game coming up against Georgia Tech is Haynes King. According to head coach Brent Key, it doesn't sound like he's going to play, but they keep saying day to day, and why not have Miami prepare for a couple of other quarterbacks? But the two backups aren't very good. Zach Byron and Aaron Philo, who's a third-string guy. They both had to come in the last game against Virginia Tech when they lost 21-6. So. But without King, you saw what he did against Florida State. We certainly as hell saw what he did last year against the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, he is a really good player. King this year, before he got hurt, he left in that 41-34 win at North Carolina back on October 12th. He hasn't played since. I mean...
Wes Dunham told me he was on, we had him on the hotline this week. Wes Dunham, who's on ACC Network, he said like they didn't know what to expect anyways, because everyone's still like day to day anyways. So it was like he didn't know what Georgia Tech would do anyways. So it's very interesting.
But losing King, who had 8 touchdowns passing and only 1 interception and 353 yards rushing and 6 rushing touchdowns, the guy's a beast.
Yeah,
so he's somebody that. Can pose problems for a lot of teams, but he is not there. It certainly sounds like that it's going to be a game time decision, but I have a feeling that he's not going to play.
I don't know any of these Georgia Tech quarterbacks. It's like when you look at it, it's like I know the one from last year who burned the Canes and stuff. It's like I'm looking at now. It's like,
I mean, that's the one that burned. That's him, Haynes King. He's the one who burned the King. He's burned the Canes last year. Well, they burned themselves. Then Haynes King, Canes lit the fire. They were kindling, and then Haynes King was lit the fire, and just that was just completely
the Georgia. Did Georgia Tech put a hot set? Like the baseball trick of like the hot foot thing on the guy's cleat. That's what happened to the Canes. Georgia Tech did that to them, anyways. So
the Canes did that to themselves.
Yes,
take a knee, the game's over. I just for the life of me. Anyway, it's in the past. It's in the past.
The past is the past. The present is the present, as Mark McGuire would say. Anyway,
that's right. Very profound. Very profound. So anyway, there's. Then the Canes have a bye week, and then they have Wake, and then they finish off at Syracuse, and that could be, I think I'm going to be going to the Wake game in a couple of weeks. They have a week off next week, and then I think the 23rd they're back at home against Wake Forest, and then at Syracuse to close out the season.
Okay. I'm intrigued by the senior day. What's going to happen with Wake Forest? I think that Wake Forest needs to be a Styles Point game. I'm going to make that an objective already before the bye. Like, I want style points. I want to see someone doing a cool celebration with Michael Irvin out there and stuff, or in some other former Cane and stuff. That's what I want. I want to see style points. I want a reason that this game is like talked about anyways before Syracuse.
Yeah, I know. And Syracuse will not be a cakewalk either. And
No.
I couldn't believe the comeback they had against Virginia Tech last week. That was unbelievable in that one, considering how they played the week before and got spanked. And then, and Virginia Tech was coming and playing some pretty good football. But what a choke job by Virginia Tech. And I guess you credit Syracuse as well. But that won't be an easy game. It's never easy in that building.
That'll probably be a noon game, I guess. If I have to guess that'll probably be a nice noon game, unless there's a basketball game that needs to be talked about.
I'm sick of these noon games. Give me a 3:30 game. I don't like noon games. I mean, I'd rather have. We talked about this last week, right? You'd rather have a night game, right? Or would you rather have a mid-afternoon game?
I like the 3:30 game. That means I get to do a little more. I can get up and go run to the gym before I have to go work go down to the station. Anyways, give me 3:30, please. If you want to do a night game, just do 5. Do 6 at least for like ACC Network or something. Yeah. But I don't like
games on ESPN or 6:30 games on ESPN. I'm just, again, to me, it's a lack of respect. Now the ACC has 5 teams ranked in the top 25. The Canes obviously 4th. SMU is 13th. Clemson still in it at 23,
barely.
Pittsburgh at 18, and Louisville at 22. And I'm not surprised Louisville won at Clemson. Not surprised at all. I took them with 10.5 points last week, and I'm not shocked that they won the game outright. Pretty handily, too.
I had that game on at the station. People was like, are we going to change this game to something else? And I looked at what else you got? Because there's no late night game anyways in the college football, which I was very mad about anyways. So no 10 p.m. games at least.
Yeah, the last one was what, 8 o'clock or 8:30?
Yeah, I was like, that was an outrage anyways. As someone who's pro staying up late and I had to produce a late night Heat game, give me at least 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Like college football game to watch.
Well, that changes this week because there are there's some great games this week. I still can't believe that Alabama right now is favored at LSU. That is going to be one hell of a game. I love the Tigers in this one. Alabama is a 3-point favorite. The total is 58.5. So I like LSU in the over. You know what Brian Kelly's record is at night with LSU?
Is it really bad?
No.
Is it really good? Like
15-0. 15-0. Brian Kelly is at home with the LSU Tigers. I thought it was 11-0 yesterday. I was wrong. It's 15-0 at home at night. I don't know why Alabama's favored. I don't know why Alabama's favored in this game. And you look at LSU; they're 6-2. They're a play away. They're a boneheaded play away, a bad red zone play away in the opening game against USC from being 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think LSU is still very much alive in the playoff picture. I think they're going to beat Alabama. Not saying clobber or anything like that.
No, I think that'll be.
I'm not going against 15-0 at home at night. I'm sorry, not doing it.
It's like Mike Tomlin on Monday Night Football. You have to bet him anyways. He will win a home game as the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football anyways. So,
but you got a couple of bailout games for you coming up. 10:15. You got BYU at Utah. A very
holy war we got going there.
State, and the Aggies at Washington State, which is now up to number 21 in the country as well. So you do have that. You got a couple
that. The Pitt Virginia Tech Virginia game, that'll be some points or some under points for me anyways, I'll say. Yeah. Then you got Notre Dame and Florida State. That was supposed to be the game of the century.
7:30 on NBC.
On NBC, yeah. If I have to watch anything, God, there's
Colorado, Texas Tech could be interesting. I mean, there's still.
I'm gonna watch that game. That'll be one game I'll throw on, anyways. I will throw
that. But you still be working, right? You still be working.
We'll be doing post game. That'll be post game right now, so we can throw that game on. Then I'm gonna run over to FLA Live Arena and watch the Philadelphia Flyers play. So they're in South Florida. So
excellent. How far is that from your house?
That is literally 30 minutes from my house. I'd like to say it's the closest, it's the easiest in and out place to go to. Anyways, there's not many fans that I could go watch a game of hockey. and enjoy my favorite team play.
When I was at Sunrise last year, it was a rainy night, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to get in, to be honest with you. But that's because
It's not the worst arena to get in and out of. I'll say, out of all the arenas down here, it's not the worst. I always say.
Oh yeah, you're right. I've seen
the Heat one's the worst to get out of. It's like almost like it's almost like Madison Square Garden, or Boston Garden, or the Fleet Center. I like to say.
Well, but I mean, if you're parking downtown Boston, New York, Philadelphia, I mean, just try to take public. I hate to be a PA. Take public transportation if you can. I mean, you are crazy if you're parking around MSG or the Garden or in Philadelphia anyway. It just doesn't. Don't do it.
I always take when I'm back home. I always take the Metro North train down to Grand Central Station, and I walk to MSG anyway.
That's what I used to do. Go get off of Grand Central and walk to MSG.
Yeah, and I told this to my girlfriend. If we ever go, we had to do my typical tradition. Like, what's that? Paper bag beer. We're good to go, anyways.
Now you have to do the Miami Dolphin post game show on Monday night.
No, they told me no because I'm doing the Heat game Sunday at 7 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they told me, like, do you want to do the Heat game? I was like, I'll do it anyways. I got to train these new people anyways. So
I got to train these new people so I don't have to do it.
That's why I've told them, I was like, if I'm training these new people, you're giving me less Heat games. I'm gonna do everything other stuff now. I was like, we'll see about that. I was like, oh god.
Now I'm assuming you're on salary and not hourly, right? I'm assuming
hourly.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that could be good and bad. So I mean, that's why I guess but it seemed like they leave it up to you. If you want to work more, you work more. If you don't,
like what I do is I cut up the post game sound for the Dolphins and stuff. So I just do that at my house. I tell the host, like, send me the sound. I'm gonna cut it up whenever I get done with it. So that's what I do.
So you do it at and what do you put in? Do you put in an hour's worth of work or 3 or 5? 10 hours. It took me 10 hours to do this.
Depends. Like if it's a 1:00 Dolphin game, and the Eagles are playing at 4:25 or 4:05, I will honestly, I'll watch the Eagle game, watch over. It's like, if the score's a blowout, fine. This past Sunday, I was like, okay, it's 22-0. I'm gonna start cutting up the sound. Lo and behold, I got 3 phone calls. It's like, what's going on? I would like to cut the sound up. So it's 22-14. Like, all right. F it. I threw the phone up and just like, I'm back on the couch now. I was going
to ask you about that because you and Angel, Angel is still, the winning in spite of Nick Sirianni, because if they lost the game, Sirianni would have been fired. I'm absolutely convinced.
You want to know what I call some of these games with bad head coaching? Moron conventions. That's what they call them.
That's what Angel says too.
I claim the fades. I literally started this year. It's like, I need to claim some of these games this year.
Did you see the Barkley hurdle though?
Yes, I was watching that. I was on I was watching. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't stand Tiki Barber in the booth. Anyways, yeah. I like his brother in the booth. Give me Rondé all day. So
yeah. No, I'm with you. But that certainly was something. And the Jaguars are having an awful season. A lot of losses by 6 points or less, that kind of thing. Now this week, I think is so interesting because you're going into the discombobulated Dallas Cowboys. I played, James Jones on the Dallas, some local show in Dallas.
Oh, 105.3 The Fan, which I love it. I watch those radio hits all the time. That's been my new joy now, by the way.
Yeah, well, this wasn't 105.3 The Fan. This was another local TV show in Dallas, and James Jones sitting there ripping Dak Prescott because calling him a quitter and all that stuff. And then we find out, and I thought it was irresponsible. You could say a lot of things about the Cowboys and the organization and all that stuff, but Dak Prescott is not a quitter. I was feeling just the opposite. When he got hurt, I'm like, it's got to be something seriously wrong. Otherwise, he's not coming out of the game. And then we find out from Todd Archer last night that it's a much more serious hamstring, and it's cut away from the bone. So he's in rough shape. He's going on IR. You get to face Cooper Rush, who's 5-1 as a starter, by the way, and the Eagles with a 7.5-point favorite on the road in Dallas.
Am I crazy?
Don't mess it up.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm in a win pool. I actually took the Cowboys, by the way.
No.
Want to know why? The Eagles have not won in Dallas since 2017 when they won the Super Bowl. Every time they go down there, they've lost. I don't trust the Eagles. I don't trust this head coach. There's part of me wanting to bring, because I'm going to the LA Rams game, Sunday Night Football game versus the Eagles and Rams.
Yeah.
I need to find I'm a moron. This is a moron convention with Nick Sirianni's face on it. I really need to do that. So I'm trying my hardest not to lose my mind in public in Los Angeles with my uncle who got me tickets, because I don't get to hang out with him that much. So
see, I'm not the only one. Trevor feels exactly what I've been saying the whole entire time, so I'm not the only one.
Well,
Thank
look,
you, Trevor.
If you're asking me about the point spread, I would take the points with Dallas for a lot of reasons. One, no matter who you're playing or what team is playing, you always gear up, at least for the first game, with the backup quarterback. You always seem to go above and beyond. So I don't care if the Eagles were playing at Dallas. It wouldn't matter. It could be the Rams. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. And then you throw in the fact that for some reason going to Dallas is Philly's kryptonite lately. It's been, 7 years since they won down there as well. So really, really interesting stuff.
It's crazy. It's literally bonkers, I like to say. Like, I always expect one thing. The Eagles beat the Cowboys will beat the Cowboys in Philadelphia. The Eagles will find a way to lose in Dallas no matter what. I don't know what it is. I think I'm going to, honestly, if I know maybe a coach is listening, bring some holy water or sage, just like sage the locker room or something. Just like I wish the Eagles had someone who was like Irish Catholic, something like from the Northeast, and just holy water the whole thing. Anyways, that's been my new thing right now.
Well, Sirianni's Italian. I'm sure he's Roman Catholic too. But I mean, look, God only goes to the winning locker room. We know that, right?
Yes.
God is only around in the winning locker room. So I don't know. He may change his mind should the Eagles lose, but something tells me the Lord will be present in the Dallas Cowboy locker room if they win, and will be nowhere to be found in the Philadelphia locker room.
No, then the Eagles will lose to Washington, which I already have as a lock already. So I'm so negative about the Eagles. Like everyone's annoyed at me at work about it. It's like, you should be happy with the Eagles. Like I look at people like, no, I am not happy. I look at people like,
I tell you, Trevor feels the same exact way. And it's funny, Trevor, because Pete keeps telling me, but you should be happy, though. They're the record they have. No, you have to be a true Philadelphian to understand this garbage, dribbling nonsense, what's called the Eagles. It's beyond disgusting.
This is why I always tell this to everyone. My mother's a Jets fan. I wanted to live a little longer. And I chose the Eagles just out of spite of my whole mom's side of the family who's all Giant fans. Oh. I tell this to everyone, especially the Giant fans I know. I'm glad the Giants are so bad. I get to enjoy 2 wins a year or maybe a split every year, and I can just be dancing on their face. Because I was so bullied in middle school about being an Eagle fan. Now, whenever I see someone who I grew up with and they're still a Giant fan, I just laugh at their face now.
All right, Trevor, go back to bed.
I actually am going to go do that right now. So
go back to bed. Always a pleasure. We'll talk next week. Go Canes. Go Canes.
Go Canes. I will say this. I can't wait for college football. So
absolutely. And you'll be producing the game.
Yep, I'm back.
All right, you're back. All right, there he goes.
Thanks, Trevor
Harris from WQAM. Quick break. And when we come back, Rick Horrow's going to join us via a telephone coming up here on the Pete Sheppard Show as we continue here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
More cowbell, damn it. Well, if I can't give you more cowbell, I'll give you the next best thing. The sports business guru himself, the Professor Rick Horrow, joining us here on the Pete Sheppard Show via telephone. Not even a rotary phone, an actual cell phone. Good morning, Mr. Horrow. How are you, sir?
I was thinking of doing our normal broadcast where you see me, but I'm driving. I'm actually driving on I-75, and I've lost some weight. But where you secure the cell phone, you don't need to know where is most comfortable, because I think that would be something that you can't put on the air. But my belly used to be one where you couldn't see my face. Now I can see my face, but I don't want to continue to have to look down. So you got me audio wise. It's much more detail than you wanted. But I will tell you that I got on early today because I respect you just for a minute, and I listened to all the commercials. I know you got sponsors and you need sponsors, but I'm not going to listen to 7 minutes of Pete Sheppard commercials again. I'm sorry, that's enough.
I'm doing my best here. And hopefully, there's going to be a whole lot of other ones. We'll get some different voices. Don't worry. We can get your voice too, by the way, anytime. And I got to tell you, I want to start, Rick. You had a great conversation with Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross on your podcast. Also, should I congratulate you on your? Did I see that you have a new radio gig on 94 out there on 94 Fox?
Yeah. So that Fox station, by the way, no disrespect to the ESPN on my side of the state, but that Fox station is truly a regional one, and I know it's all about signal. And it does reach Miami, and they are the, contracted South Florida station. And I'm on from 6 to 7 on Wednesday nights, called the Sports and Golf Boardroom. Yep. Ken Kennerly, a good friend who ran the Honda Classic and is now running the James Hardy Invitational, which is the senior event in conjunction with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's going to be an amazing event. We're going to talk a lot about it because it's not that far for you guys to just drive over. And it'll be, early March. We'll have pairings of NFL Hall of Famers and, the champions golfers. It's probably going to be better names. I'm not supposed to say this, but than the, event we've had in South Florida at PGA National for a number of years. And they decided, Ken did, to use it as a platform for, me and Ken Levica to do sports business and golf business every week. So, yeah, I mean, you and I are doing that on our side once we get all our ducks in the row on your side. Yeah. And I thought it would be a good compliment. I'm very excited about it. Plus, whether you want to or not, South Florida hears me nonstop for an hour on a regular basis. Then we're going to play it all over again. We're going to put it on sirens. We're going to put it on cell phones. We're going to put it everywhere. So people, if they choose to, can hear me before they go to sleep as the last voice they hear. And the first voice in the morning.
That's like the end of Harry Met Sally. It's like, I love it that you're the last person I want to hear before I go to sleep. I can still smell the perfume on my clothes and blah, 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 blah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, you're not smelling any perfume on my clothes, okay? So, the last comment I made about putting the cell phone where I don't want anybody to see it, that's enough. I don't want you to start thinking about that stuff, all right? Because it's just in the wrong hands, your hands. Just stick to the facts.
All right, we'll do a hard pivot here, and I want to get into. I haven't heard all of it yet, but fascinating conversation you had on the Horror Sports, and I've retweeted it for you already. You sitting down with Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, talking about a variety of issues, and I think it's about 43 minutes on the podcast, but you touched on some very, very interesting stuff. How, I know you're good friends with them, but what was the most fascinating thing? Or did you learn something from that interview that you didn't know before?
Well, I think I learned validation of things that I knew before, but most people who hear it, it's not, here is the real Steve Ross, because he's owned the team or 50% of it for years now from Wayne Heising, and then he bought the other 50%. But look, he's a fan. He's a sportsman. The Formula One track, the tennis facility, the World Cup soccer, putting most money out of his own pocket to get the stadium done. That's all stuff that an owner that loves the community will do. Now, don't misunderstand. He's going to make a lot of money as assets, and it's a great investment. But this is not his comment. This is mine. You can get excited about skyscrapers only so long, and he is the quintessential builder in New York. You need something else to keep yourself occupied. And, what occupies him now is becoming the greatest sportsman in South Florida, and he's well on the way to do that. He may be there already. But the other thing that keeps him occupied is, and I have the luxury of seeing him during a game. And, don't disturb him. No small talk. He wants to win as badly or maybe more than any other owner. I mean, look at what he does as far as private investment, when a lot of owners, honestly, can just take their 50% take of TV and tickets and make money and then sell the franchise if they want to. That's not Steve. And the unfortunate/fortunate thing is, he's not a young man anymore. So watch him spend his money now, because he needs to win, and he needs to win now. So, saying that and running this when they're 2-6 and hopefully not 2-7 Monday night, most people don't get it or don't understand it. He wasn't close in a lot of games, but that's Tua. That's not, the fact that roster is not built to win. Is it built to win or not? I don't know, but I see all the pundits in South Florida talking about, fire sale. He's not fire selling, because he's not going to take the 2 to 3 years it takes to rebuild. I know that. He's going to add on, if anything. Now, should he add on now? Should he have added on a trade deadline? That's not my department. But I do know that he's not sitting back and playing golf, and he's not sitting back and planning his next real estate deal. I can assure you that.
Yeah, my biggest problem with the Miami Dolphins is the head coach is Mike McDaniel. I can't take the guy seriously. I just can't. And they will never, ever, ever get to past, they will never get to a championship level with that guy coaching. Ain't going to happen.
Well, listen, let me tell you, when he was an offensive genius last year and he jumped on the league and nobody knew what these reverses were all about and all of that stuff, and you heard the Tua MVP chants when, he would roll up wins. You heard a lot of different stories. Now, I understand, a year makes a lot of difference. And when I still cringe a little bit, because I don't know if you watched that game, but they were down by a field goal. They should have scored many more touchdowns in the red zone. That was one of their undoings, but it was 4th and 7. And he kept the offense on there for a little too long. And then he sent Sanders in. But it's like, no, he's not doing that. And with him, you never knew. But it is, your riverboat gambler stuff makes it the art of the possible. And a riverboat gambler is a genius if it works, and he's a moron if it doesn't.
Well, I think he's a moron. I just don't think he's head coach material. That's all. That's just my own opinion.
Yeah, and I'd pump the brakes on that a little bit, and I would want to see what the team looks like if and when it gets rolling, when Tua has 2 or 3 more games under his belt. Problem with that is they may be out of the race already.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be very difficult. Tonight's a big game, especially if Cincinnati wins tonight. That's going to be, which I don't think they're going to, but if they do, that's not good for the Miami Dolphins if Cincinnati wins this game tonight.
No, you're right. That's forward thinking. I didn't think. What do you do? Do you use your second hand when you count past 5?
Hey, that's my business. That's why you see. You can't even see it now. You can see my hands. I don't want
to see what you're doing with your middle finger in one of your hands. All right.
I want to delve more into your conversation with Stephen Ross, though, and his ties to University of Michigan. I know it's his alma mater. I know he's donated tens of millions of dollars. I get that. Did it come up in the conversation about him getting some nil money for one of the top quarterbacks in the country? In all seriousness, honestly, did that come up at all? Is that something he would consider?
Well, the problem is that he it's not mixed loyalties, but he is the core of 2 major high visibility assets. One is pro and one is college. Mm-hmm. And the college asset keeps changing. So would he help lure a top-level quarterback? I do know that he watches Miami games. He doesn't, hadn't gone, but now the University of Miami, I'll go to those games well before I'll go to anything else. Last week when I was on the way to Duke, that was a tremendous game, and Dan Radakovich, the AD, is doing a wonderful job.
Yes.
But you look at how Miami, bought, wrong word because everybody's doing it now, Cam Ward. Look what that did to that program. And why not anybody looking at college football under the current circumstances? Wouldn't you figure out, if you had the ability to do it, do the same thing? Dabo decided that I shouldn't say it this way, but I'll say it anyway. God doesn't like the transfer portal, so he shouldn't either. Well, fine. But, guess what? They're one loss away from being eliminated from playoff consideration. They still may, but most coaches are doing it the way the rules are allowing now.
No, absolutely. It's a great point. All right, let's a couple more minutes here. Well, because I know you're driving, and I want to, mix and match.
I can do three things at once.
Nice.
I decided, like I said, do you want to know where my phone is now, or do you care? No, we've already talked.
No, I don't want to know where your phone is.
You don't care. You don't want to know. You don't care.
If I hear a swooshing like of pants, then I'll know. But I don't want to.
Here it is. You know how sometimes when the phones are saying it's too hot to charge? Well, it's too hot to charge.
You wrote about this week about NFL owners and the 2024 political.
Wait. Yeah, time out. But I will do it, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Was that an angel cackle? Is Angel there?
I sure am.
Was that a
yeah? He's there.
Well, why don't you say anything?
Well, because as you tell Pete, it's Pete's show, your segment.
Well,
yeah, all right.
He's always allowed to chime in whenever he wants.
It's really my show. It's his fake show, and it's my segment. How's that?
No.
What do you want? I interrupted you. What do you want?
No. All right. So the only poll I cared about last night was the college football playoff poll, but there was some election going on, the presidential election. I guess a lot of people cared about it. NFL owners, you wrote about this week. Political donations this year up a lot from 4 years ago. Interesting stuff. These billionaire owners have very strong feelings about certain candidates.
And have the ability to put their money where their mouth is. Either way, I know that there are a lot of owners who gave on the Democratic side and it wasn't reported. So there's not a reason to start talking about it now. On the Republican side, it was reported. Arthur Blank, a big number, Woody Johnson, a big number, the Broncos folks, which is the Walton family, a big number. And you have the ability to give those dollars legally. And then you have the ability to make some significant input decisions because of that. And I guess all I'm suggesting is that influence buys money. That's not a bad statement. It's a factual statement. And let's just hope this is a broader picture. This is not just day after election. Let's just hope that the influence that is purchased by all of these contributions is used for the greater good. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You mentioned Woody Johnson, which I think is interesting with the Jets. I brought it up yesterday, Rick, about he can't run the Jets. His brother Christopher may have to run the Jets if he is named ambassador again to the UK, because you can't do both.
Yeah, and remember when Rooney was ambassador to Ireland? Luckily, there are 858 Rooneys. So you can designate to a RTB and a Rooney to be named later, and then you just decide which Rooney you want to use. And that's a very good point. But there may be some ambassadorships down the road, and should I say? It would be a terrible thing to say, so I'm not going to say it.
No, say it. Say it.
No, I'm not going to say it. I would say, if I were, thinking about it, that maybe the Jets would do better if Woody is overseas, but I'm not going to say that.
Oh, I already said it for you. So that's a given. And plus the players.
Oh my God, I'm following in your caustic footsteps. That doesn't get me anywhere.
But my sources and the word around the Jets like Christopher. They like Christopher a lot. So I mean,
Yeah.
he did okay when he was with them before.
He's got a personality. I've met him, and it's a kind of a cool thing. A buddy of mine, shout out to Andy Lee, who was a Foley and Lardner person in the sports division, and he has been named the general counsel of the Jets, and he worked on the whole MetLife deal and the Super Bowl host committee up there. Great guy. He's not on the player side, but they've got a lot of decisions. They've got World Cup events, and they've got improvements with stadiums. So good for him. Good for the Jets.
And finally, I'm going to probably ask you about this every single week, and I know you wrote about this week. The Rays' future is still uncertain as Tropicana Field repairs begin. And I still like my idea that you kind of agreed with last week about, if possible, just to stay closer to home and turn if they agree, Raymond James Stadium where the Buccaneers play, into a temporary, make it a baseball field too for at least a season.
Well, when I said I kind of like the idea, if left field wall isn't 127 feet. So, let's pump the brakes a little bit on calling it my idea. Calling it your idea has built-in mischief and ignorance involved in it. But calling it, my idea, my idea would to be reach some accommodation with the Yankees and play over at Steinbrenner Field because there is a significant seating capacity over there. That would be my idea. But to take a football stadium that's built as a rectangle and turn it into a baseball stadium, assuming it can be done, great idea. Assuming the sun rises in the west, then California gets the sun before Maine does. But what are you trying to do to us?
Well, I'm just thinking outside the box. That's what
your box should be. Your box should be limited to reading box scores and just talking about normal stuff that people don't expect, big things from you because you can't deliver.
What's the capacity? What's the capacity of the Yankee Stadium over there? Honestly, what's the capacity of the Yankee Stadium over there, the minor league field?
Maybe Angel can look it up quickly, but I thought it was like 12,000, 13,000.
Yeah, it is.
That's am I right about
Yep.
that? I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Rick.
Yeah. Well, so that becomes, it's clearly the biggest spring training stadium in the state of Florida. And it, keeps the team not only in town, but it keeps the team in what people would say would be a, more central location to the Rays fans than where it is now.
And that's about what they get for a crowd anyway, 12,000, unless they're playing the Red Sox.
You want the ability to, have the sellouts, but then, you scale your tickets accordingly, and obviously people don't like that, but you raise the ticket prices and you make up for a little bit of revenue. But the seats will be great because you're watching a major league game in a small stadium.
Yeah.
Awesome. Rick, great stuff as always. Really, I've retweeted it. I suggest everybody go listen to your latest podcast with Stephen Ross. Yes.
Go back. All the comments I made about ignorance and lack of brain power and staying in your little box, I really don't mean it. Sorry. Angel, I apologize on behalf of the show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, my friend. Safe travel. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. There it is. The sports professor, Rick Horo, sports business guru. Somewhat arrogant. I'm kidding. I love Rick to death. Great guy. Check him out on horosports.com. And I've retweeted the show, his podcast with Stephen Ross. It's a video stuff. It's really, really good. I recommend it highly, especially if you're a Miami Dolphin fan. I think you'll find it pretty fascinating as well. All right. Back here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Before we go to break, I do want to play. What do I want? Yeah, I'm going to play. I'm planning to play this for my Patriot fans out there. And I would do this if this were the Eagles or anybody else. I just, and if you scroll down, Angel, it's under Jim Harbaugh. It's under Drake May. It's the Patriots webpage. And it is, I love mic'd up situations in the NFL, on the ground. I love it. I can listen to a continuous loop. I don't care, even if it's the Jets or the Eagles. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I love mic'd up stuff. Do you see it, Angel? It's under New England Patriots.
Hold on.
Yeah, I think that's it.
33. I think Missouri.
Yes, 33. Yes, that's it. So this is we'll do a few minutes of this before we go to break. This is awesome. This is a bunch of Patriot stuff, mic'd up, which I think everybody enjoys and loves to listen to. So, and if you don't, tough. You should love it.
He bumps, he backs up, he slides left, he looks in the left corner, now he rolls to his right, he pulls up in the middle of the field, Drake May eludes a defender, running to his left, looking to the end zone, trying to keep the play alive, falling down, he throws to the end zone, it's caught! Touchdown! Ramondre Stevenson! And hello again, everyone. A very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee for this matchup of the New England Patriots and the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Need that leadership
today. All right. Yes, sir. Ready, dog. Who got it now? Who got it? Hey, man, that be a positive today, man. We got dogs on me. Dogs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Yeah. 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 Bring that. Yeah. 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 Bring that. Bring that. We all day today.
Those are all penalties.
If I get more sacks today, you gotta sit to the window. I ain't sitting by no damn window. They dominated today. All day. 60 minutes. Let's go, baby. Let's start fast. Start fast. Let's get it.
Make it happen.
Let's get it, bro. Hey, let's go. Start and finish, baby. Start and finish. Start and finish. Hey, right here, right now, bro. Right here, right now. Hey, they got their quarter, bro. That's how we giving them.
The football down, right-footed line drive is headed toward Marcus Jones. Backpedaling from the near side 4, across the 10, cuts it left, weaves his way outside 15-20. Jones left sideline 30. Jones to the 35-40. Stays on his feet across the 45.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What I'm talking about? That's what you do, bro.
To the left of Rudolph, he's got 3 receivers wide to the right. One split left, takes the snap, quick throw to the right. It's a high ball, and it's going to be deflected, intercepted. Another pass, and this one's a pick. Good for you. Deflection into the end zone.
They go score, we're going over there. They go score, we're going over there.
Oh, we're gonna go over there.
Stevenson to his right. Ramondre takes the handoff. He runs up the middle. He's in. Touchdown, Patriots.
Yes, Sirski. What?
All right, it's a long clip, but I mean, I just love mic'd up stuff from NFL films. It's great stuff. Coach Patriots went on to tie the game and then lose in overtime, but we digress. All right, let's take another quick break. Rick says all the kind words. Cooper Rush 5-1 isn't the one lost to the Eagles. I believe it is. I believe you're correct. Kellen Moore should know a lot about him. Yes. And then, of course, a sad day for me. Australia's Rachel Gunn announced she will not be competing for any breakdancing medals in the future due to all the backlash she's received. BOOHOO. I don't know how I'll be able to sleep tonight knowing that. All right, speaking of not sleeping, John Meter-Perrell going to join me, the voice of the BC Eagle football team, and also hear him on the ACC network calling college hoops. As well, and also hosts with Tim Welsh on WEEI on Sunday mornings. Was happy to be on the show with him last Sunday at 8 o'clock. Good stuff. Meter is coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World and Saugus, be there.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Welcome back. It's hour number 3, third and final hour here in the Pete Sheppard Show along the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show today. on the video platform. Great stuff. Listeners are just and viewers, fantastic turnout already today. Thanks for checking me out on Twitter, X at PShep326, and Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029TheGame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. You can call or text the show at 727-858-6650 as we patiently await John Mita-Perrell, the play-by-play voice of the Boston College Eagle football team. Take a bow. They're in action at home this week at the Heights in a big game against Syracuse as well. And you hear him on the ACC network calling college basketball games also as well. And now the college basketball season is well underway. Not well underway, but it's been a few days now. So we'll wait for Meter to join us. He had his podcast, which I retweeted with head coach Billy O'Brien. That's all I do. I just retweet other people's stuff. That's all I do. That's the kind of guy I am. Angel Martinez, lots going on with the network and everything else. I want to do a quick update on where everything is and just growing by leaps and bounds. You're doing an amazing job. I know today, I don't know if there's a new episode of Cat and Pat coming up. Patrick was going to be on today, but he's on a plane doing his other job. Believe it or not, it's more important than doing this, which I find hard to believe. But he'll be on with us again next week. But what's going on with the network, Angel, while we wait for Meter?
No, I'm waiting for a new episode to drop with Let's Chat with Cat and Pat. I don't think they've released one yet, I believe, because they were traveling. So that might be the reason why.
Yeah.
Also, with the Marshall Time podcast, I'm waiting for those guys too, because as they get busier about the third week into the NBA season, because their first month they do a review recap of the games that happened, and then they start doing more of a weekly basis. So waiting for that one as well. And then just the Q will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So he will be back for Football Friday. So if you guys have missed out on the drive with Q, he will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then later on today for myself, I will be down there at the Amalie Arena covering my first ever NHL game, the Tampa Bay Lightning versus my Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, come back with some good sound as well. Yeah, that should be great. And you get to see our good friend Deandra Liu, who I'm going to reach out to her, and maybe she'll be on with us tomorrow as well. But it'll be interesting to get your perspective. You're going to love it. It's great stuff. It's good. And it'll be easier to find a locker room.
I'm quite sure. I'm just going to go around and say, I'm Pete Sheppard. You might recognize me.
Well, it should be great. Well, that's good. I'm glad. And make sure you say hi to Deandra and some others. If you see Dave Andrechuk there, you can definitely tell him personal hello from me. Love Dave to death. All right. There he is. Joining us. He's in the car.
He's in the car. This is going to be interesting.
John Mita-Perrell, play-by-play voice for the Boston College Eagles and voice on the ACC Network for College Hoops, which is finally underway. And this quick stat, by the way, which I know John will like. Army is 8-0. We know that. They're a 6-point favorite in North Texas. You know that. Most of you now know that I've told you every single week, they're the only team in the country that's not trailed in a game this season. So this Saturday, when they play at North Texas, it will have been 358 days and 12 games since Army lost on October 28th, 2023 to UMass of all teams. The Black Knights have trailed in a game. That's the last time they trailed in a game was to UMass back in late October 2023, my anniversary. But good morning, Meter. How are you?
Pete, you're full of nuggets. You're full of information. You're full of musings.
Full of
yes,
shit.
I am. I'm not trying to speak. But I am on a side road about 5 miles from Chestnut Hill, and I'm headed to BC's football practice. So it's, I do anything for you, Pete. I pull over on the side of the road. I won't stop at rest stops, but I will pull over on the side of the road.
Well, let's talk about this game coming up. It's huge. But you're not on the Mass Pike, right? You're on, what are you on, Com Ave?
Oh, I was just off of Route 9. I am headed towards BC. So, yeah, I'm in leafy Newton right now.
How's the foliage right now? Still there?
Oh, the leaves are popping, Pete. Angel, Pete was a big leaf peeper back in the day. He'd go up to New Hampshire, and he would leaf peep on Saturdays.
Like in like second, third, fourth grade, they make you go out and collect leaves and put it on construction paper. Remember that? That was like art class. I'm like, this fucking blows. I don't want to be doing this. I don't care about stinky leaves, get your hands all dirty and everything else. Yeah, the foliage is beautiful, but it's overrated. After when you grew up in that area or in the Midwest, you see it. It's fine. It's beautiful, but I don't know what follows.
Create a life-size Rick Middleton out of leaves.
I can see that. Yeah. You know what leaf? You know what foliage means? You got to rake leaves. That's what it means, and it's brutal, right? Is that not the worst thing to do? Is rake and bag leaves?
Yeah, the worst. When I was married, my wife would always say, "Go out and rake the leaves." I'm like, no. Wait, when I'm
hire
not
somebody.
married. But yeah, it was definitely one of those I don't want to do that things.
It is beautiful to look at, but I don't want to rake them. Anyway, so I haven't listened to it yet, but you sat down once again. I retweeted it for you, your podcast, your weekly podcast with Bill O'Brien. So what's going on with the BC Eagle football program, and what can we look forward to this Saturday against Syracuse at the Heights?
Yeah, no, it's obviously a very important game. They're through with their buys. It's now a sprint to the finish. You got to get bowl eligible. That would be a bonus in Bill's first year. This is just a huge one, though. You got to take this game. You got to figure out a way to beat a good Syracuse team. How to stop their running game is going to definitely be one of the key points. BC's had trouble stopping the run all year. LaQuint Allen's one of the best backs in the ACC. They haven't used him probably as much as they could have, and I think they'll probably get a steady load of him on Saturday. And then there's Kyle
602 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a tough back. So, and then there's McCord. What McCord are you going to get? He's been terrific basically throughout the year, and you had that, that brutal game against Pitt. So, they do turn the ball over. BC's done a good job of that this year, top half of the league, and forcing turnovers. And it's Castellanos. It comes down to the quarterback. I mean, we say it every week. Castellanos plays a A-minus game. BC's got a really good chance to win, but he has been, up and down to say the least. And they just need to figure out a way to play 60 minutes. So Brian tells us that every week. They haven't done it. I told you last week they haven't done it since Florida State. Put together a complete game, Pete, and they got a good chance.
Well, it is interesting because what they've won, 4 out of 5. Syracuse has. The one loss was humiliating at Pittsburgh, losing 41-13. But would you rather play the team that came back from out of nowhere last week? I couldn't believe it, the way they came back and beat Virginia Tech in overtime 38-31. Or would you rather have them come in having lost that game the way it looked like it was going to be a blowout by Virginia Tech early on?
No, I think my preference would be the latter, about them coming back and winning. I think that's a good scenario for BC, because then Syracuse probably thumping their chest a little bit, feeling good about themselves, and then you pop them in the mouth. So, and then you beat them. So I'd rather have that rather than them coming off a loss. But my preference doesn't matter. I think O'Brien he knows. I think deep down he knows that this team's. They've shown they're a really good team, but they're really good when they're consistent. And he's riding the roller coaster right now with them. So they've had some injuries. Cam Arnold's out, linebacker. Every team has injuries. It's not about the injuries. It's more about just sustaining and more about just finishing a game. And if they can do that again, I think they could be one of the better teams in the league.
And we know Bond is an excellent receiver as well for BC. What about Payne? And Payne is very good. He's got 5 touchdowns and over almost 600 yards receiving too for Cuse. So the receiving corps for Syracuse, how dangerous are they?
They're very dangerous. They also got a kid named Justice Ross Simmons who emerged last week. He was in a all-conference performer at Colorado State, and they did a good job in the portal. That's what Fran Brown does. He's a really good recruiter. He was the number 1 recruiter on the Georgia staff. He's clearly done a nice job this year. Payne is very good. Gadsden's a terrific tight end / receiver, more of a receiver really. So they can pop you. They could stretch the field. Their offense can be dynamic. They're an explosive offense. They average over 440 yards a game. Now, defensively, though, they have trouble stopping the run as well. So there's something where BC could go to too. So you got Trayshawn Ward, you got Kai Robichaux, Turbo Richards coming back this week, a freshman back who's looked good this year. So I think BC can hurt you there too.
Let's get into more of the ACC. John, I was with you on your great radio program at WEI with Coach Tim Welsh on Sunday, and we were talking about Louisville beating Clemson because we talked about that last week. I wasn't surprised at all. Maybe at how easy it was in the second half. I mean, Clemson they got shellacked and brought a big smile to my face that happened. But they're at Virginia Tech this week. Now, I think Clemson's out of it now anyway. It would take a miracle for them to be in the college football playoff. But how do you think they're going to respond to a very hostile environment in Blacksburg this week at Lane Stadium?
Yeah, I like Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech is dangerous. We saw that against BC. Saw it last week at times. They blew it last week, but they also didn't have their quarterback and they didn't have their best running back. So those guys are basically game time decisions. I think Drones might be back this week. I think Tootin might be back too. So they got those two guys in the lineup. Now, if they don't, it's a different story, but well documented how tough it is to play in Blacksburg. Clemson, one of those things where they just that game last week just deflated them, I think. And good for Louisville. And it's one of those teams that just an outlier, just not good enough to be a top 12 team. It's clearly a top 25 team, but in Clemson, that's never, ever good enough, as you know.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. It's breaking my heart. Then we got Miami and at Georgia Tech as they tried to, they won a huge brain cramp in Mario Cristobal's coaching career. We don't have to go into what happened last year. Should have taken the knee and did instead. But a huge, they're an 11-point favorite, and I don't think this is going to be a close game. It might be I know Miami's gives up chunk plays here and there, and I understand that. Sometimes it takes them a little while to get going, like it did last week against Duke, to blow them out. But without Haynes King there, who's just a total difference maker, that guy, 8 touchdowns and 1 pick, and rushed for 353 yards this year and 6 touchdowns. If he's day-to-day, whatever, Brent Key, I know I heard his press conference earlier this week. He keeps saying day-to-day, game-time decisions. Sounds an awful lot like he's not going to play. And Zach Pyron and Aaron Philo are not going to get it done. I think the Canes blow them out big time.
Yeah, that's an accurate assessment. Although it is wacky in college football, we all know that on any given Saturday. But yes, without King, it's a large task. Miami's on their talent alone; they should blow everybody out. I know they have their moments, but offensively, especially. But I think, that to me is a game you could probably turn off at halftime, or it should be one of those games where Sheppard just goes to the lanai and starts.
I want to pile on because this is the scary, not the scary thing. The committee and the college football playoff rankings, which we can get into, and everything else. No big surprises early on. I think I love it. I love talking about potential matchups and where everybody is. But one thing, can we agree on, Meter? One thing is absolutely clear: blowouts mean a lot. They mean a lot. Covering the spread means a lot. They will never admit it. But you keep hearing about, close losses over, again, Notre Dame got dropped in the polls this year. They won by 42 points. They got dropped in the poll. But clearly, Georgia being close with Kentucky comes into play. In the committee, you hear them talk about it all the time. So I'm like, well, you do care about the sexiness of wins. I just wish they'd come out and say it.
Yeah, I think they should be definitive there. Yeah, of course. They look at a game, and if it's, Miami, even Georgia Tech this week, all right, did Miami win by 3 touchdowns? Okay, bonus. And a win's a win. I understand that, and that's the thought of the fan base. But you're onto something. I think you need to blow out the teams you're supposed to blow out. Notre Dame is going to make the playoffs. They have one of the easiest schedules in the country. And then Northern Illinois, despite the Northern Illinois debacle.
They won last night,
but
finally.
By the way, great story as we digress. Great story on the Bill O'Brien podcast from O'Brien about, did you know that he was the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame in 2001?
No, I did not know that. I did not know that. I'm sorry, what?
He was the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame for 36 hours. That was when George O'Leary got fired by Notre Dame.
Oh, that was a glorious day.
So O'Brien was on O'Leary's staff at Georgia Tech. He took O'Brien to Notre Dame. Oh yeah, Bill, go look at houses. You know, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be. He told us he was gonna make 125 grand as the OC at Notre Dame in 2001, which he's making a lot more than that now.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a lot of money back, and still a
Yeah.
lot of money, but
Yeah.
a lot of money
Yeah.
back then. And they went to go look at houses in Granger, Indiana, a Notre Dame suburb. And he got in his office, put his stuff down, and then he got the call.
Did he sign a contract? Did he still get paid?
No, I don't know what the deal was. I think that everything was vetoed after O'Leary's resume came out.
What? Nice, fine Catholic institution like that didn't honor the contract?
No, I think maybe there was like a 48-hour rule.
That's unbelievable. They should have made him the head coach.
I know. He was young. He was 31 years old back then. It was it was an interesting journey for him. But that's the thing with all these coaches, and you've talked to a lot of them. Yeah. They're nomads. This is his 19th stop, and final one too, according to what. No more moving for that family. Very happy where they are. So that's a long haul for anybody. It's like you and Martinez just picking up shop and going to Myrtle Beach tomorrow.
Love Myrtle Beach. I had my 40th birthday there. Fantastic. Ocean Annie's, one of the best sports bars ever, ever, ever. Ocean Annie's in Myrtle Beach. Never forget it.
Hey, I'm going to Dallas next week, and I'm going to Jerry's World on Monday night to watch the Cowboys Texans because BC's playing SMU next Saturday.
Yes.
And they have one of these sports bars in Dallas that's one of those 3D experiences that put you at the stadium. You feel like you're at the stadium.
Cool.
Yeah, so the featured game I might go to next Sunday night is the Chargers game, but you sit there and you literally feel like you're at SoFi Stadium.
Oh, that's great.
It's unbelievable. You guys got to check this out. There's like 4 of them around the country, and Dallas has one.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And who knows, maybe Mike McCarthy gets fired after that game if they lose to Houston. But no, probably not. But we'll wait to the end of the season. What a mess that situation is. Hey, I wanted to get, before we get into, before I let you go, college basketball is underway. How does Columbia beat Villanova last night? But I guess, is Columbia one of the best schools in the Ivy League? I saw Harvard play last Friday afternoon, had some shekels on them, and they won. Would they beat Lehigh? I forget. But are
you dropping dimes on Harvard, Lehigh?
Oh, yeah.
Get him some help, would you?
No, easy peasy. They were only 3-point favorites. I did my research. I think they won by 9 or 10. But
pretty soon there's going to be a 30 for 30 on Sheppard.
No, if you know what you're doing, and Harvard was at home, it was the easy peasy win. A lot of those spreads are way off in the beginning of the season. But
don't go to Levine's Pavilion on a Friday and beat the Crimson.
Go Crimson. But what's your schedule going to be like coming up with college basketball? I know obviously you're still doing football and everything else. You're going to be doing any college basketball on the ACC network or ESPN anytime soon?
Yeah, waiting for the December slate from them, and looking forward to whatever's on the docket. I'm assuming a lot of ACC games, a lot of BC games, obviously when they're at home, especially. Cooper Flagg's coming in with Duke, which will be good, which will be the ESPN networks. I think the ACC. We say it every year, Pete. At least for the last couple of years, a lot of outliers. I was shocked too by the Villanova loss, but that's a real bad loss for Kyle Neptune.
It is. It's bad for the conference.
That's not no bueno. But it's just similar to college football, more so in college basketball. Forget about it. It's all about parity. And from 1 to 365, and I know there's some obviously the Kansases of the world and the Dukes of the world, and North Carolina's loaded again, and the top 10 teams should not lose to the Columbias, but it's not necessarily going to stun me if that happens.
Well, what about the conference right in basketball anyway right now? It's just two teams that are ranked, and that's Duke and North Carolina. Duke, obviously, Duke is 7. UNC is 9. For now, anyway. It's very, very early. But did you expect more preseason hype out of the ACC than those two blue bloods?
Not really. I think it's imperative for the ACC for the Syracuses, the kind of the old blue bloods in the conference to emerge again. They need those teams to be strong. NC State had a great run to the Final Four. Clearly Kate Keats has done it. Was on the hot seat, but now he's secure. Tony Bennett's exit, see what that does to Virginia, another blue blood in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're okay with being thick in the middle, so to speak. They don't want to be TJ Burns thick in the middle, but they want to have that's a little play on words there for you. But they want to have at least the parity. They're okay with that, but they still would like those top 4 teams to be prevalent in the top 25. And look, you and I have talked about BC a lot. BC has not made an NCAA tournament since 2008. That is really hard to believe.
No, it really is. It's freaking unbelievable. And that was the one. Did they make it to the Elite 8 that year, or just about? Would they lose to Villanova in the Elite 8, if I remember?
Yes. Well, I don't think it was the Elite 8, but it was Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. And that was nip and tuck all the way. And that was a great Villanova team, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they lost in overtime, if I remember correctly. But that was
fired. And then they bring in Steve Donahue. That was my first year on radio with Malcolm Huckabee calling the games.
That's right.
And that team was loaded. They had Reggie Jackson, Corey Raji. Very good team. Joe Trapani, another good player. And they made the NIT, and they couldn't make the tournament. So, but that's Boston College. If you're Boston College, you're Providence Friars. You're that type of team. You got to make a tournament 7 out of 10 years.
Well, Providence basically has. They got screwed last year, but they've done certainly under Ed Cooley and now Kim English. And as soon as Hopkins gets back, I know they struggle a little bit against probably a very underrated Central Connecticut State University team that I believe won the conference the year before. And I know it wasn't sexy, but they got 4 more. My Friars they got 4 more games before they play Oklahoma, which will be the gigantic test in the Bahamas. But once Hopkins gets back in action, hopefully sooner rather than later, they're going to be tough in the Big East.
Yeah, no, I like Providence. Providence is a good team. Can they shoot though? 32% from 3 last year.
Yep, not good enough.
That's an issue. So if they get that going, they should win 20-plus games easily. Hopkins is terrific, no question about that. And Central Connecticut, the alma mater of one Scott Pioli, Jamie Paul.
Yep.
Your good friend Jamie Paul.
Steve and my good friend Brian Bruno, who knows Scott Pioli. They used to hang out together back in the day when he went there.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yep.
Cradle of legends in New Britain, Connecticut.
Yeah, crazy. Who knew? Who knew? All right, get to practice so Billy O'Brien doesn't make you run laps or anything like that. So,
I have to run the hill.
All right, we'll look forward to. I don't think I could. Well, I guess I could get. Is the game on the app on EI's app or not?
It's on the BC. Just go to bceagles.com and
okay,
listen.
Even better to hear it. But I'll be watching it. I'll be watching some of that game. Of course, the Hurricanes are playing Georgia Tech at noon as well. But I will have you on my laptop. You'll be right next to me. Right next to me, to my left on the laptop, almost like you're sitting in my lap, like Santa Claus.
That's where everybody wants to be. In Pete's lap. Now we're going back to Scores back in the day in New York City.
I've actually never been to Scores. I don't think if I have, I don't remember it.
That's a possibility.
Very classy gentleman's club.
You've been to the Foxy Lady.
I have been to the Foxy Lady, yes. Yeah. Don't say, strip clubs never my thing. They really weren't. I remember a friend of mine after the Aaron Boone home run in 2003, and we were staying at one of the Million Marriotts in the Times Square. So I got back after the game. My buddy's like, it was like right next door, this, not sleazy one, but he's like, yeah, come with me. He goes, I'll make you feel better. And I go there. I was in no mood. I don't like those places anyway. It's not my style. It's not me. I sat there. This girl, starts with 11, and then she yells at me. This is after you give her a couple of bucks and everything else and doing the thing. And my buddy's having a good time, who was also a Red Sox fan, and I'm sitting there going, and she goes, I am, this is a quote, I'm getting yelled at by a lap dance lady.
Otherwise, yes,
a relaxation therapist. And she's like, don't tell me you're one of those people again. I'm like, and I go, what do you mean those people? She goes, you Red Sox fans that come in here and you're all upset and nobody's spending any money. And she got up and left. This is after the $20 I already gave her.
Yeah,
I didn't even get a drink. I'm like, fuck this. I'm out. I don't want to be here anyway. I just stormed out and went up to my room.
That was you showed her.
Yeah. I mean, I get yelled at for not being into it. I'm like, I'm upset. Can you blame me? I suffer another heartbreaking loss, and as a media member this time, unbelievable.
Well, I think her point was you're supposed to go there and alleviate some stress.
I couldn't. I didn't want to be. I don't like those places anyway. I didn't want to be there, and I couldn't stop thinking about the game. And and of course behind her are a bunch of TVs showing the replays of everything. It was a bad night. It was a bad night. And then I get on the first one. I never went to bed. I got up at like 5:30. So Glenn's like, this is another part of the story. So Glenn's staying, whatever. Glenn was going to. I know he was not going to get up early as I was. I was like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And I just want to go back to Boston. So I was on the first flight out of LaGuardia, which was like 6:30 or 6 o'clock, whatever it was. We had open ticket whenever we wanted to come back. And Glenn didn't think. Glenn came on like the 10 o'clock. Now, we're doing our show that day from 2 to 6. Glenn gets on like the 10 or 11 o'clock flight, and I'm not there. He assumes that I've overslept and tells Andy, like, we're not waiting for him. We're not waiting for him. This is from the same guy that said, I kid him about this all the time. This is the same guy that said to Andy and I, you never leave a business associate. You don't leave a business associate. And I just got pissed. I left. I left. So I'm back. I got back at the station. I might have even seen you that day. I got there early in the morning. I didn't want to go home. I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I just sat in the office and cried. And nobody. You remember that day back in the what it was, a morgue in this. I was like, don't anybody talk to me about anything. Nobody wanted to talk.
Here's why I remember that day. That was when I hosted the show that morning with Mike Adams, our good friend Mike Adams, and I think it might have been Larry Johnson too, because Dennis Callahan might have been part of their suspension. Remember that?
Those
days?
Yeah. Yes.
Bad timing. And so I was hosting with those two guys, and I, like you, didn't sleep at all. But that was probably the easiest show we've ever done on because you
just open up the lines. Fire Grady, fire Grady, fire Grady, fire Grady Little.
Yes, exactly. That's all it was. From 6:01 on a.m., it in the afternoon. It was just what a cathartic moment for everybody.
Yeah, it really was. And then it really was. And then, so I remember Glenn calling me, at the station. He's like, did I have I had a early cell phone. He's like, where are you? He goes, we couldn't wait anymore. I go, Glenn, I'm fucking here. I got home. I come back to Boston at 7:30. Okay. I've been at the station, locked in a room that's not padded, which is dangerous. I said, what do you think? I'm going to hang around and wait for 11 o'clock? I don't want to wait around with all those Yankee assholes. I'm getting the hell out.
Yeah,
I did. I get out. It's only only an hour flight anyway from, so.
No,
I'm like,
it was.
I go, I'm never late, Glenn. I'm never late, but I wasn't hanging around till 11 o'clock that day. I was out. As first flight out of LaGuardia, I was on.
You were the first one there every day. When I was leaving, I used to see you come in at like 11:30.
Sometimes, yeah. Yep.
Bebopping, you holding your your stack of newspapers and your pencils, your Ticonderogas. Yeah.
So you think about back in the day of all the news, all the shows, and I'm sure this is for in Philadelphia, and it doesn't matter. But think about how much this is almost pre-internet, sort of. And I remember the internet on Huntington Ave. We had one computer. Remember that? It was in the, and it didn't work really well. And you and I basically, had the same type of job. You were in the mornings, I was in the after. But I mean, to get updates, we basically had to watch ESPN2 and watch the scroll at the bottom. We had no access to anything. And it was really, when you think about it, it's unbelievable how far we've gone. And we had newspapers. If you and I were hosting shows or a co-host, newspapers are spread out all over the place and relying on box scores and everything. I mean, it was crazy.
It was. I remember my first day on the job. And I barely got in the studio at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was scrambling to find any information. I had to ask Josh, like, where do I get my information?
Yeah.
Like, I have not. Do I have to go? So basically, what you want me to do is rewrite the Globe and the Herald.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So,
Oh, we lost Meter.
He may have a call that came in.
That's exactly what you're right, Angel. That's probably exactly what it was.
More than likely, that's what it was. Usually, when you get a call, if you're doing a video element on your phone, and a call comes in, boop, bye-bye.
He says, Meter in the car segment, lap dances, BC hoops, and Brett Boone. CSN got you covered. Yep, absolutely. And then he says, Pete was the only man in America to bring a stack of newspapers and pencils to a strip club. Work comes first. No, I actually dropped all that stuff off in the hotel. I should have just stayed there. Oh, my goodness.
That's funny because I didn't hear I heard the second part when you told the story a while back, but I never heard the first part to get to the second part.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I get back to the client. Where are you? Pete, where are you? I'm like, I've been here. I've been back since 7:30 this morning, 7:45 with a 10-minute cab ride from Logan to the station at the time. Unbelievable. Joe says Pete would have the dance or rattle off Red Sox stats before she could qualify for a lap dance.
That would be hilarious. Wait, before I give you this $1, what's the average stats last week's game?
Let's see.
That would be fantastic. Oh man.
All right. Well, we're gonna end it right here today. Meter. Thanks for John Meter Perel. Thanks to Rick Horrow. Let's see. Thanks to thanks to Trevor Harris as well. Moving out and moving on. Back tomorrow morning at 7. Back tomorrow morning, yes, at 7 a.m. I'll have my pigskin picks. I'll recap what I did last week. Obviously, Gabe Morency is going to be on. Angel, you enjoy the hockey game tonight. I'm going to try to reach out to DeAndre Liu and see if she will join us tomorrow. If not, you will give me the first-hand account, and if you are in the locker room afterwards, maybe we can play some sound that you get. Would be cool. And whatever else. We have lots going on. We'll recap tomorrow morning. We'll recap the Bengals and the Ravens, give you all the latest college football and NFL news, NHL, NBA rundown, everything. You won't miss a beat. Lots of good videos, everybody. So have a great and safe rest of your Thursday. I am Pete. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Bye-bye. Moving out.
Moving out.